Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you very much. I think this hearing has brought to light some important implications of the current policy. Well, the policy that's no longer in effect because it was struck down by a court, but clearly the direction that this administration wants to take us. That for millions of Americans who rely on tips, who are proud of the tips they earned, who appreciate the opportunity to earn tips and depend on them for their livelihood, you have a Department of Labor in this Biden-Harris administration under the direction of unconfirmed Acting Secretary Julie Su that is coming after your tips simply by issuing regulations. And I think that's a very alarming thing, and the contrast could not be clearer because we have legislation right now in Congress that would actually say you get to keep your tips entirely, no taxes on tips. The contrast couldn't be clearer between that and saying we don't want you to have any tips at all. And then we also saw that for the folks who run restaurants, this could be a very challenging industry, especially in recent years. This is really a threat to the viability of a lot of restaurants. And so they're coming after your favorite restaurant as well. And, you know, coming from California, we've gotten something of a preview of this set of policies. After all, the current acting secretary, Ms. Su, was the Department of Labor head in California. And under her leadership in the Newsom administration, California, for most of her tenure, had the highest unemployment rate in the entire country. We had the slowest level of wage growth, absolute last out of the 50 states. We also had the highest poverty rate in the United States. And so her record there was so bad that even a majority of her own party in the Senate refused to confirm her. Now, that was no matter to the Biden administration. They've decided to keep her there without a vote, shattering all records for an unconfirmed acting secretary remaining in office. And the vice president, Kamala Harris, even went so far as to say, I'm not going to call her acting, even though the Senate refused to confirm her. Vice President Harris, sitting vice president of the United States, basically shoves the Constitution aside, says, I'm not going to call her acting. And so she's remained there and has continued to promulgate these anti-worker policies. And I think that a common thread, as we discussed, between this and, say, the independent contractor rule, is these rules, by force, run directly against the wishes of workers. 90% prefer the tip model. Similar numbers of independent contractors prefer to be independent contractors, and yet they want to issue orders without so much as a vote of Congress that say we're going to take away your tips, we're going to take away your right to earn a living on your own terms. Fortunately, under the leadership of Dr. Fox, this committee, Education and the Workforce, is fighting back against these overreaching regulations. We just had a good court ruling on the tipping rule. The independent contractor rule is being challenged in court as well, and we'll continue to fight to protect workers and small businesses. With that, and seeing without objection, there being no further business, the subcommittee stands adjourned.